I stood there in the dead of night, my heart pounding like a war drum in my chest, staring at the glowing screen of my phone that showed strangers hauling boxes into the home my family had built with their bare hands, while I was half a world away, sweating under the relentless sun of Iraq, fighting for a country that suddenly felt so distant, so cruel, and the rage bubbled up inside me, slow at first, then like a storm breaking loose. Because this wasn't just any betrayal, this was Eleanor Whitaker, the self-appointed queen of our neighborhood homeowners association, forging papers to claim I'd ditched my place, renting it out for a fat $2,500 a month, pocketing every dime while I dodged IEDs and bullets, thinking my childhood sanctuary was safe, untouched, a piece of my soul waiting for my return, and to make it worse, she'd timed it perfectly, knowing my unit was deep in ops. No quick calls home, leaving me helpless as she turned my dad's hard-earned haven into her side hustle. It hit me like a gut punch, that icy realization that someone back home, someone who smiled at barbecues and waved from her pristine driveway, had turned predator the moment my boots left American soil, and I couldn't stop the bitter laugh escaping my lips as I imagined her counting my money, sipping her fancy latte, while my father's legacy, that sturdy 1980s bungalow on an acre in suburban Arizona, where generations of us had laughed, cried, and bled for this nation, became her personal cash cow. Oh, the irony of it all, serving overseas only to get robbed by a suburban tyrant in pearls, her scheme so calculated, starting with minor nitpicks to build a case, wearing me down from afar. What would you do if you came back from hell to find squatters in your family's heart, paid for by the very thief who swore to protect the community? Drop your thoughts below, because this is the story of how I, Alex Rivera, a third-generation Marine, turned the tables with my battle-hardened squad, exposing a web of deceit that would make any action flick pale in comparison. And trust me, the payback was as sweet as it was savage, with every step revealing layers of her greed that tied into bigger neighborhood secrets. Let me pull you back to where it all ignited. Growing up in that house my grandpa hammered together after Korea, where my old man, fresh from Desert Storm, taught me to fix engines and stand tall, the kind of place where the desert winds whispered secrets at night, and neighbors actually knew your name, not just your tax bracket. But then the area got swallowed by development, and suddenly we had this HOA breathing down our necks, led by Eleanor, 54, with her impeccable silver bob, cruising in. A sleek black Mercedes with plates screaming TOFOA, always in those crisp linen suits that screamed control freak, married to a surgeon, speaking in that syrupy tone that masked pure venom, her rise to power marked by rigged votes and whispered threats to dissenters. I'd grumbled when we signed on, but Dad said, "Son, blend in to win." So I paid the dues, kept the lawn trimmed, and shipped out for my tour, leaving the place on autopilot with bills covered. And my neighbor, sweet Mrs. Lee, 75, who'd fled war herself and baked me apple pies that tasted like home, checking in monthly, thinking that was enough. But oh, how wrong I was, because 6 months in, a letter lands in my bunker, demanding a $2,000 special fee for some glitzy clubhouse. And when I questioned the fairness, my humble spot hit as hard as the mega mansions. Eleanor's reply dripped disdain: "No breaks for warriors. Pay up or face the law," as if my service was a nuisance, her words laced with subtle digs at absent owners, like me. The violations trickled in then, petty as hell, grass a smidge too wild, fence paint not matching her vision, even when Mrs. Lee's nephew parked briefly for a family grill out. Each slap carrying $40 a day fines that snowballed like bad debt, and during a grainy video call, Mrs. Lee whispers about seeing Eleanor eyeing my yard like it was trash, muttering to a crony about blight's lowering values, my dad's pride and joy, where he'd gripped my hand through his final days battling lung cancer. Called an eyesore, and that's when it clicked. This wasn't rules. This was war on folks like me, absent defenders easy to pick off, her pattern emerging as she isolated properties one by one. By month 8, emails flooded with 19 citations, absurd stuff like weeds daring to sprout, a tiny rust spot on the gate, unauthorized visits, fines stacking to $950 daily, over $28,000 in a month for suburban sins that'd make you chuckle if it wasn't so vicious. And then Mrs. Lee calls, tears choking her words, Papers served calling her a trespasser for tending my home. This resilient woman who'd raised 4 kids alone, now broken by Eleanor's spite. Her tactics including anonymous notes to scare off helpers, and I knew, deep in my bones, I had to strike back, invoking the Service Members Civil Relief Act, that shield for us in uniform, freezing debts, delaying suits, firing off complaints to the Arizona Attorney General, thinking I'd turn the tide. For a breath, it worked, the harassment paused, but then came the bombshell, a 52-page upkeep pact claiming Dad signed it pre-diagnosis, waiving protections, granting Eleanor free reign. The paper too crisp, too perfect, like it had been faked yesterday, stained for effect, and my hands shook in the 115-degree heat, fury mixing with grief, because this was spitting on Dad's grave, twisting his memory into a weapon, her forgery so sloppy yet bold, ignoring basic legal stamps. She escalated, hiring her sister's hubby, Greg, whose landscaping firm was basically a guy with a push mower, billing $350 weekly for urgent care on a yard Mrs. Lee handled gratis. And when I protested, Eleanor cooed, "We must safeguard values. Your absence can't burden others," as if my duty was a defect. And I'd joke with my CO that tangling with insurgents was simpler than this smiling assassin. At least they were upfront about the hate. Her invoices padded with extras like pest control for non-existent bugs. My nest egg, scraped together over years to $7,500, drained fast between sham charges and lawyer fees, down to $1,000, my pay barely stemming the bleed, and whispers from other service folks revealed Eleanor's pattern, preying on deployed families, turning vulnerability into profit, making this bigger than my fight, a stand for every uniform betrayed at home, with stories of similar setups in nearby blocks. Month 11, a lien notice for $16,000 hits, but attached, her true game, offering to help sell to buyers, code for steal it cheap, and Mrs. Lee spots cars touring my place, Eleanor measuring like a vulture, snapping pics secretly for proof we'd need, her tours including notes on upgrades to flip it quick. That's when I looped in my unit's JAG, Captain Emily Hayes, who spotted the pack's flaw. No notary, no witnesses, worthless legally, filing injunctions, tipping off a vet-turned-reporter, Mike Sullivan, while Eleanor countered with smears, labeling me unstable, PTSD-riddled, pushing for nuisance status, cracking the neighborhood Dad cherished, her whispers spreading through coffee clutches and online groups. But my squad started a fundraiser, back our brother against HOA hell, exploding to $13,000 in days, vets sharing tales, solidifying my resolve. This was for all of us, the guardians turned targets, funds covering experts to dig deeper into her past deals. I baited her with a defeated call. Fine, sell it fair. And she bit, lowballing $12,000 under value. Recorded legally in one-party Arizona, her greed on tape, the trap tightening, her voice cracking with excitement over the deal. Then the ultimate gut wrench. Mrs. Lee calls mid-meal, a truck unloading into my home, a family with kids claiming tenancy, Eleanor forging abandonment, renting for $2,500 monthly, keeping it all, and police shrug, civil issue. While kids' laughter on video shattered me, innocents caught in her web, their lease peppered with clauses tying them to her lies. My CO granted leave, hooking me with attorney Laura Bennett, a fierce advocate for military kin, who laughed at the lease. Unauthorized, no board vote, criminal, and subpoenas revealed Eleanor skimming $42,000 from funds, Greg unlicensed, profiting off fraud, her books showing creative accounting like admin fees for personal trips. The stakes soared, news blared Marine battles, HOA home theft, my drill sergeant chuckling, suburbia tougher than sandstorms, but Laura unearthed gold in records, the HOA bogus, never incorporated properly, all actions void, fraud on a massive scale, targeting 3 other vets, pocketing $350,000, emails hinting racism against transient troops, FBI intrigued via Agent Thompson, her prejudice laced in coded language about community fit. We let her dig deeper, each move adding charges, Dad's wisdom echoing. Give bullies rope, deciding to shield others while building the case. Shifting from hunted to hunter, the thrill of impending justice pulsing through me like adrenaline in a firefight, with anonymous tips from scared neighbors fueling our intel. The VFW post on Elm Street hummed with purpose at dawn, 8 of my brothers and sisters in arms huddled over maps of legal chaos, laptops glowing, coffee steaming, their leaves sacrificed for this homefront war, a crew of specialists forged in fire, ready to dismantle Eleanor's empire with precision that'd make any op envious. And the air crackled with that mix of grim determination and dark humor that keeps you sane when the world's gone mad. Stories from past tours blending with strategy. Talks. Sergeant Tom Gearhead Ramirez, our gear wizard, flexed his fingers, grinning. Time to crush a backyard despot messing with our own. Been itching for a scrap this juicy. While Staff Sergeant Karen By Johnson, our tech guru, dove into digital depths. By noon, I'll have her secrets spilled, from debts to deleted posts, and the team rounded out perfect. Corporal Ben Lawhawk Ellis, Paralegal Sharp, Specialist Ryan Nailgun Murphy, Builder Eyeing Damages, Sergeant First Class Sophia Heel Garcia, Doc turned Forgery Sleuth, Staff Sergeant Victor Broadcast Lee, Media Maestro, Private First Class Ethan Spark Kim, Electrician Probing Permits, Sergeant Supply Hernandez, Logistics King, each bringing skills honed in chaos to this suburban siege. Laura sketched the assault. Legal strikes via FBI, AG, DA, financial forensics freezing her loot. Media blitz with outlets hungry for the scoop. Rallying victims for a class suit. Reclaiming my turf peacefully, backed by law. And remember, folks, demand those HOA books yearly. Oversight's your shield against shadows. Her plan including timelines synced like patrols. Bites digs hit pay dirt on Eleanor's vanity. Her posts boasting, purging military clutter, pics of my home as before bait, a self-incriminating trail, and we spun fake buyers to log her scams. Nailgun tallying sabotage costs, spark nailing permit frauds, uncovering shoddy wiring jobs on other properties. The groundswell built, a military wife launching Stand with Alex, online, ballooning to 700 voices, businesses flying vet flags, mayor's line jammed with demands, gearhead prepping trucks for the tenant's gentle move. We wouldn't orphan them for her sins, even covering their temp housing costs from the fund. Lawhawk chuckled over bylaws. Even if real, she broke in. No votes, conflicts galore, embezzling ghosts, and Heel magnified the fake pact. Inks Post, 2020, Dad couldn't have signed with a future pen. The piece is locking, but supply nailed the goal. End her threat forever. Make her a cautionary tale for every HOA vulture eyeing troops, brainstorming long-term reforms. We timed the climax for her sham monthly meet, inviting press, Pauls, brass as watchers, real community rising against her facade, flyers distributed door-to-door to rally turnout. But desperation breeds recklessness, and Eleanor spiraled, by snagging emails of forged incorporations, bribing notary Susan Diaz for $1,800, plotting a leak to drown records. FBI already had backups, her panic emails showing sleepless nights. Her peak folly, sending Greg to trash my place at midnight. Cameras catching every smash, flood, mutter of Eleanor wants it wrecked like age. FBI taping it all, Agent Thompson buzzing. Conspiracy gift-wrapped, footage including his clumsy slips on wet floors. She pushed condemnation with phony reports, stashed $112,000 offshore for flight. But the smears stung deepest. Fake profiles painting me violent, unstable, letters to my CO alleging threats, even scripting neighbors' lies, traced back to her. Backfiring as vets rallied with proof of my good deeds, including old photos of me coaching kids' sports. My squad landed in Arizona in blues, medals shining, checking on tenants. News amplifying deployed hero versus fake HOA. Trending hard, clips of our arrival going viral. Eleanor's last gasp, $45,000 bribe to Laura, refused and reported, then threats to her kin, PI tailing kids, ethics complaints, tipping FBI to act, her calls logged with shaky voice cracks. She accused me of smuggling, drugs, faking unit posts, Army probed, cleared me fast, adding her charges for false claims. Investigators sharing laughs over the absurdity. Her unraveling peaked in public fits, bank rants, clerk tantrums, coffee shop meltdowns. All filmed, Agent Thompson noting, catastrophes incoming, neighbors filming her outburst for evidence. The bribe blitz hit officials. $20,000 to inspector, $90,000 promise to planner. Wired, recorded, her meetings caught on hidden mics. Then terrorizing tenants with deportation threats for not lying. Crossing into unforgivable, my blood boiling at the immigrant family's fear, their kids' drawings left behind tugging at heartstrings. With the meat looming, we geared up, live cams, scribes, streams, vet watchers, AG pros, and Deputy Sophia, Gil Garcia's kin, Deputy Ana Garcia, warrants in hand, rehearsals ensuring smooth execution. Gearheads synced us. She thinks it's her stage to smear. It's her curtain call. The center swelling with 200 souls, tension thick as fog, ready for the storm to break. Whispers of support buzzing like pre-battle morale. The air in that packed hall hung heavy, charged like before a desert thunderstorm, bodies pressed close. Whispers turning to roars as Eleanor Whitaker strode in, all poise in her tailored Navy ensemble, briefcase bulging with lies, oblivious to the deputies blending in, the feds posing as locals, the trap we'd woven so tight she couldn't twitch without tangling further, and my squad front and center, uniforms crisp, a wall of honor against her deceit, the cameras rolling, streams live, the world watching as she banged her gavel, voice slicing through. Order, we're here to confront a blight endangering our haven. Mr. Rivera's forsaken home a danger demanding swift remedy. Her slides including manipulated angles to exaggerate the decay. She flashed slides of the wreckage Greg wrought, framing it as my neglect. This eyesore threatens us all. Board decrees urgent intervention. Murmurs rippling, some buying her act, the protector shielding from a rogue vet's chaos. Then her venom spilled. Certain folks, transient service types, don't fit our ethos, hauling overseas baggage back, degrading our standards. The room freezing, lenses capturing every damning word. Her slip revealing years of bottled bias. That's when Laura Bennett rose, documents ready, projecting the truth bomb. County files, FBI snaps, ledgers of $340,000 pilfered. For years, Ms. Whitaker's run a racket, not an association, never chartered right. All edicts null, fraud pure and simple. Detailing victim testimonies we'd gathered. Chaos erupted, cries of outrage from fleeced folks. Elders shaking fists at lost savings. Laura thundering on. She siphoned fortunes via sham levies, forged pacts, mail scams, bribes, preying on deployed guardians. Eleanor bolting for escape, but Deputy Ana Garcia blocked, cuffs snapping. Arrested for fraud chains, bribery, SCRA breaches. Her mask crumbling to dread as federal bars loomed. Deputies reading rights amid flashes. Agent Thompson piled on. Tapes of your purge plots, fund thefts, vandalism orders, flashes blinding, questions flying, my team saluting the triumph of right. A 5-minute ovation washing over us. Mrs. Lee gifting a flag from Dad's sight. Whispering, he'd beam. You battled true. Her hug warm with shared victory. Neighbors atoned on air, tenants grateful for grace. And I faced the mics, voice steady yet fierce. No hero returns to theft. We guard homes abroad, not to war HOAs here. The clip exploding online, inspiring similar fights nationwide. 6 months on, Eleanor got 7 years federal, $2,100,000 restitution. Greg 2 for complicity, notary stripped, probationed, PI charged for stalks, appeals failing amid overwhelming proof. But triumph bloomed beyond cells. I restored the bungalow over leave, squad pitching in with laughs. Bruise, erasing scars, uncovering Dad's note in the shed. Alex, if shadows loom post me, stand firm, shield the weak, claim your ground. Fight proud, boy. Tears hitting as his spirit fueled me, tools still bearing his marks. We birthed a real HOA, me presiding, shields for troops, clear books, no bias. Arizona enacted the troops HOA shield law, 10 states following. Congress tightened Fed guards via my words, hearings packed with similar stories. From settlements, I launched Guardian Homes Alliance, aiding 712 families with free counsel, tying with law schools for clinics, expanding to online resources for remote troops. Personally, law school's my path now, vet advocacy focus, eyeing legislature, and yeah, dating Laura, her fire matching mine, outlasting gearhead at the VFW bash, our first date over case files turning romantic. Summer grills honor all, vets, locals, even ex-tenants, under that planted Arizona cypress, resilient and grand. Mrs. Lee's pies mingling with tales, Mayor toasting our rebirth from rot, kids playing where I once did, full circle. So, as the sun dips, peace settles, justice served, wounds healed, community forged stronger, a testament that love for kin, fury at wrong, can topple empires, and I found my closure in the echoes of Dad's lessons, the bonds unbreakable, the fight won, with ongoing support groups keeping the flame alive. But tell me, was this revenge justified, or does mercy trump justice when systems fail? Where's the line between righting wrongs and becoming the bully? Share below, what would you do in the face of such betrayal?